Good morning once again from Tanjung Balai here in Sumatra. Hello. That was my first hello from Sumatra. Hello, how are you? And that was my second good morning and hello sir from Sumatra. So today's a little bit of a different day than my other bike rides. Up until now I've been exploring just the area around Tanjung Balai. But as always happens, time has gotten away from me and my visa for Indonesia is getting close to expiring once more. I really wish I could get more time, but it's just not possible unless you leave the country and come back in, and I don't really want to do that. So yeah, today's a little bit different because I'm on my bike and I'm leaving Tanjung Balai. So I've checked out of my hotel here. I've got all my gear loaded up on the bike. I've got my trailer behind me there. So the bike is quite a bit heavier this morning, and it's normally when I get up ahead here to this main road, I turn right to head into town and towards the river and the fishing boats. But today I'm turning left and heading out of Tanjung Balai. And the plan is to take it very easy, take it very slow, because the last time that I tried to cycle any kind of distance, it was actually from the town of Dumai. I was staying in Dumai back in those days, and I started cycling inland to go to Bukit Tinggi, and on the very first day of cycling, my knees kind of blew out. And that was a bit of a surprise to me because I don't think I'd ever really had that trouble in the past. And I had done a lot of cycling, 30, 40 kilometers a day, just roaming around. So when I tried to leave from Dumai and my knees got damaged, it was a bit of a surprise, and I was wondering why that might be. And it could be because when I left from Dumai, I had all of my luggage, my laptop, the camping equipment, food and water, and basically everything I own is like loaded up on the bike along with the trailer. And it ends up being quite a bit heavier. So I guess it takes more energy to turn the pedals. It doesn't feel like it does. Like right now I'm spinning the pedals and it feels exactly the same as without my luggage because I'm not going uphill. But yeah, that was the only difference. So I'm hoping to take it very slow. I'm not going to cover a lot of distance today. Just kind of baby my knees. See if I can ease into a bit more of a cycling lifestyle. We'll find out. Oddly enough, I can already feel my left knee is a little bit wonky. It's just kind of weird. It's like my knees aren't lining up properly, like my kneecaps or something. I can feel there's something weird about it, but we'll see how it goes. And one thing I've learned about Sumatra is that it's very difficult, if not impossible, to get off the main roads. If you want to do some cycling just in the region, do a little 20-kilometer loop or something, explore the countryside, then you can find these beautiful roads that head along rivers and into farming countryside and villages. But if you're covering any kind of distance, even what I'm doing today, 50 or 60 kilometers you want to go in a direction, you get funneled onto main roads, the biggest road, because there are no alternatives for the most part. I tried to find smaller roads than this one to go in the direction that I'm heading, but like looking on Google Maps and all the maps that I can think of, there just are no other roads. You run into rivers and barriers, and then the countryside roads just run into a dead end, and you can't keep going forward. So it's pretty much these big roads, sharing it with all the local traffic, or no roads at all. You don't really have much of a choice here. Hello. That was interesting. There's a guy there riding a very unusual bicycle. He's clearly a true cyclist. You don't see bikes like that here in Indonesia, so he must be all about the cycling lifestyle. So he was very happy to see me. He's coming up behind me right now. Hello. Thank you. Nice bicycle. Yeah, that's a classic. Looks like it's from the Netherlands, like a Dutch bicycle. Interesting. So about half a kilometer behind me, I reached an intersection, the main road. It continues on to Kisaran, but I don't need to go to Kisaran. I've actually been there before. It's a nice town, good place to hang out. And this road that I'm on is probably the busiest road in all of Sumatra. This is like the national highway that runs all the way from Banda Aceh down to the southern tip of Sumatra, basically where the road ends, and then you take a ferry from there to Java. There's no bridge connecting Sumatra and Java. So yeah, this national highway in Sumatra is about 2,500 kilometers long. As I said, starts in Banda Aceh, goes through all the major cities, goes through Medan, and then on to all the places here. So all the trucks carrying goods from Sumatra to Java, they're all going to be on this highway. So it's a busy one, a lot of trucks. So we'll see how my knees react today. I don't plan on going very far, 30, 40, maybe 50 kilometers, something like that. And if my knees are okay, I might turn inland and try to go up into the mountains a little bit, kind of skirt the southern tip of Lake Toba, and then head from there either down to the coast or down to Dumai. It all depends on how my knees do. Yeah, it's a funny thing because the last time I did this, I rode my bike daily a lot. So even here in Tanjung Balai, I'd ride my bike 30, 40 kilometers in a day, riding around that area. Didn't have any trouble. But as soon as I put on all my luggage, it seems to make a difference. Like so far today, I've only ridden like 13 kilometers today, but I can already feel my knees giving me problems. I can feel pain in my knees, and I'm not sure how they're going to react today. And I guess it's just because of the extra weight. Good morning. But maybe I can ease into it, maybe I can't. We'll see how things go today. Whew. Here come some trucks. That's a big one. And one right behind it. And then another one. Yeah, the man that I was cycling with there for a little while. Whoa! His truck wasn't paying attention. Hello. This yellow truck wasn't paying attention. Everybody stopped in front of him, but he didn't know that this orange truck had stopped. Yeah, I was just saying that the man I was cycling with for a while there, the local cycling enthusiast, he kept on going ahead of me towards Kisaran. So when I got to that intersection, I stopped to check Google Maps and he continued ahead of me. And then I turned left and I haven't seen him since then. Good morning. So he must be disappointed I'm no longer behind him. He was really enjoying it that he had someone like me also on a bicycle. Cycling support. Another line of trucks, a couple of yellow ones, gas and oil truck of some kind. Another gas and oil truck. Whoa, big truck coming up behind. From time to time, if I see trucks coming towards me and trucks coming up behind, if I'm able to, then I'll go over onto the gravel shoulder, get out of their way. But in that case, couldn't really do it. There was too much of a drop off from the pavement to the gravel. The main vehicles that you really have to watch out for, though, are the buses. The trucks are usually loaded to the maximum that their engines can carry, and they don't have a lot of speed in the tank, but these buses can really rock and roll and they'll come blasting around the corners, passing, and then I dive for the shoulder from time to time when I see a bus coming at me. Here we got trucks and trucks. But there's nowhere for me to go on the shoulder, so. I've just arrived in a small settlement right on the main highway. I don't know the name of the place, and it's not that far away from Tanjung Balai, but as I said, I really need to start very slowly on the bike now that I'm carrying all of my luggage. Oh boy. Trucks everywhere. So yeah, I don't know where I am exactly. I don't know the name of this place. It may not even have a name. But I think they have a little hotel here. So I'm going to check out this hotel. And if it's an affordable place, I think I'm just going to spend the night there. There's still lots of time left in the day, but I just want to go a very short distance today. Make sure I don't damage my knees this time around. I'm going to be very, very slow and gentle. There's actually a more attractive town up ahead, a larger place, and it looks to be more interesting on Google Maps. It's actually right on the Asahan River. So it's actually the sort of the beginning of the Asahan River. It goes all the way down to Tanjung Balai. So it would be a nice place to spend the night, but as far as I can tell, there's nowhere to spend the night there. No hotels or cheap budget guest houses or anything like that I can find. So if I can find a place here, this is where I'm going to call it quits for the day. So here is the hotel, the Liberty Hotel Karaoke, but it's sort of out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing here. Oh. Hello. Rumah satu malam satu orang.
18.
18.
Iya.
Oh, okay.
12 jam. 12 jam.
Oh, okay. Bolehkah saya melihat kamarnya?
Boleh.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah. Yeah, just pull it in. A little bit further. Hey. I may end up regretting this, but I didn't take a room there. There was just too many negative things about the place. Oh. It's taken me about 5 minutes to get back onto the road. So many trucks going by. But yeah, the rooms were quite a bit more expensive than I expected. Okay, that one was cutting kind of close. Felt like it anyway. And the rooms were pretty much like dungeon cells. Nothing welcoming about them. Beds weren't made up. They were just really unpleasant sort of rooms. And I still would have taken one, except that this whole neighborhood, I expected there to be some shops and restaurants and things, but there's nothing here. Most of the hotels in Sumatra, I find, they're designed for like families or people in cars. So it doesn't matter that you're out in the middle of nowhere. You basically just keep driving until the sun goes down. And then when it's dark and you've already had something to eat, and you just pull into one of those places, put 4 or 5 people in one room, and that's it. But for me, I don't know, I usually stop earlier in the day, and then I kind of want to do some living, right? I want to park my bike and unpack and then go out exploring, check out the place. And here there's not a single shop anywhere, nowhere to get water, nowhere to get food, nothing. So nothing to go look at. So the issue is that up ahead there's nothing listed on Google Maps. There's a riverside town up ahead, as I said, right on the Asahan River, about 8 or 9 kilometers up ahead. And they'll have shops and things, but there are no small, like, guest houses. Yeah, Sumatra tends not to have those. In places like Thailand, a lot of the little small towns you come across, they'll have little lodgings, but Sumatra tends not to have them, in my experience. So I may end up with nowhere to stay, and I want to stay indoors tonight if I can. But just going to settle in for 8 or 9 kilometers to ride up into this next town. Yeah, it's funny how difficult communication is as well. It's I don't mean language. Of course, there's a language barrier, but when you're in a place like a small hotel like that, they don't have any experience communicating across a language barrier. So even when I try to use translation tools like Google Translate, they don't know what to do with them. Or even like using a calculator. I was trying to deal with this one woman who I couldn't really communicate with. I would ask her, like, how much is the room? And she would tell me something, and I didn't understand. So I got out a calculator, and I typed out the number that I thought she said on the calculator, and then she looked at it and just sort of didn't really know what she was looking at, and just kept saying no, 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 no. Yeah. And then someone else came over and took the calculator from me, and they typed out the cost of the room, and they typed out the exact same number that I typed out. But when I typed it out, it's like they didn't recognize it. And then if you're accustomed to going to a lot of different countries and speaking with people with a language barrier, you learn new ways of communicating. Like if you use a word and the other person doesn't understand, then you naturally adopt sign language, right? So she was trying to tell me that one room was air conditioning and one was fan only. And I knew the word for fan, but my brain wasn't working, so I didn't understand her. She said kipas, which means fan. But for some reason I didn't remember that. Uh-oh. Big truck. I can't get over to the left. But the natural thing to do in those situations. Hello. I'm fine. How are you? You say kipas. The other person doesn't know what you said. Then you point to the fan, right? You point at the fan and go kipas. That's what I mean, fan. But a lot of people here don't know how to do that. You wouldn't think it's a skill, but body language, sign language, is actually a skill that you have to learn. And if you never use it in your life, it never occurs to you to point to the fan, point to the air conditioner, things like that. All you know is to use the word kipas, and if that doesn't work, then you just don't know what else to do. Anyway. In this small town up ahead. Google Maps does list what they call Kost, K-O-S-T, and these are like rooming houses, guest houses, like kind of like long-term stay, but they often have rooms for rent, and I can stay at a cost. But the ones in this town, I can't tell if they're operational or not. I don't know, man. These trucks, they are something else. And there's no room on this road. Taking your life in your hands on a bicycle. Yeesh. Oh boy. Yeah, there are a lot of things to think about with a hotel like that. Quite often, if it's a little bit too expensive, the rooms aren't really that nice, it's in the middle of nowhere, there's no water, no food, I could still take a room there if I feel good about the person I'm dealing with. But in this case, the woman that was helping me out, showing me the rooms, I don't know, we weren't clicking, right? We weren't vibing. If I got good feelings from her, like I don't know, somehow we just established a good rapport, then I would still take a room, but there wasn't even that. And the last problem was that it wasn't just a hotel, it was hotel and karaoke. And karaoke is a real warning sign for me that at nighttime it could turn into a disco with massive music just pounding all night long, all night long. You just don't know. So because of that word, karaoke, I thought, well, oh boy. Another one of these big grain trucks. Anyway, for all of those reasons, I just got back on my bike, and I'm going to take my chances on the town up ahead. Oh, I think another big truck coming behind me. Whew. Yeah, the heat is really starting to build up too. Pulled over into the shade to rest a little bit, take a drink, and I've just been enjoying the trucks going by here. 3 more, I think, at least. You can see how steep the hills are, how slow they go uphill. Green one, orange one, white one, yellow one, and then a bunch of cars who got caught behind. We got a guy here on a bicycle. Hello. Yeah. Saya dari Canada. Yeah, gotcha. Truck coming. Yeah, from Canada. Oh. Mobile. So many mobile. All right, I go. Okay. Whoa. Trying to get back on the road. There's this tarmac ridge here. It can get quite steep, like a little cliff. Yeah, a weird thing happens here with the tarmac where it melts, and then as the trucks go over it, it squishes it down and then pushes it over to the edge like a wave, and you end up with this big, oh boy, That yellow truck was coming straight for me. Yeah, you get this wave of melted tarmac builds up on the edge, and it's almost like a wall of tarmac right alongside the side of the road. It becomes harder to navigate. Oh man. So I think I'm just on the outskirts of the place, right on the Asahan River. Yeah, interestingly, on my right, behind me, you see a long lineup of shady areas underneath those trees where people are selling drinks. I'd stop there, except I just stopped at a roadside like resto bar, cafe, and I had cold drinks there. So my search for a place to stay continues. I learned that I saw on Google Maps there were some coast here, like small, like simple lodging, but they're kind of hard to find the owner, make a connection. And I came up to this mosque, and these men here were coming out of the mosque, and I just stopped to ask them, do they know of any simple guest houses here? And they called the owner for me. I think the coast is this yellow building right over there, and I'm in front of this beautiful mosque here. I turned in here because I saw these men on these nice uniforms coming out of the mosque, and I thought they must know the town quite well, and it turns out they did, and they're a group of teachers. So yeah, we were chatting for a while. I did talk to them on camera, but my microphone died, so I don't have that audio, but they're on their way back home now. And this gentleman is the owner of the Kost. So he's going to show me a room either over there. I think he has two of them, like two buildings. All right. How late, when do you close? What time?
Can you... 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
5 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. Okay, we'll see. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. So that's the owner of the Kost up ahead of me. Of course, just when I need my GoPro and my microphones the most, all the batteries are dying, so we'll see if I can make it. So I guess we're not going to that yellow building. He has two buildings. And it turns out there is another town about 16 kilometers up the highway. I never noticed it on Google Maps, but it has a whole bunch of hotels and things, but they would be quite expensive. And I'm more of a Kost, Losman kind of guy. And here we are. Yeah, these sorts of places, you really need local help to find them. Like even when you do find them on your own, they're usually just an empty building and there's like nobody there. And you just don't know what to do. So you sort of have to tap into the local neighborhood, start asking people, and 9 out of 10 people will tell you, no, there's nothing here. There's no Losman, no Kost, no Peninggapan, no hotel. Everyone will tell you that. And then the 10th person will say, oh yeah, there's all kinds of places. Here, I'll bring you to one. So you just don't know what's going on most of the time. And yeah, now at least I get to follow this motorcycle and we'll see where we end up. And here we are. It always happens that at the end of the day, that's when all the activity kicks in, and right at the end of the day, everything falls apart technology-wise. Your GoPros, all the batteries are dead, your battery and microphones all die, and you're swapping and trying. It's usually just total chaos. But things have settled down a little bit, and this is a business that this family runs called Azura. So they have a laundry, a Kost, which is like a guest house sort of thing, kind of usually like long-term rentals, and then home contracts, things like that. So they have like a family compound back here, and I guess they have all these rooms that they rent out. And then for me, since I'm only here for one night, that's what I told them, they found this room over here for me, I think. Yeah, so got my bicycle parked outside. And the room itself is not, it's not made up like a hotel room or anything. But yeah, here's the outside. And they had to open up this whole area for me. And I haven't unpacked yet. This is my room. It has an air conditioner up there and a pretty simple little bathroom here. Just a, dump water out of there with the bucket basically. And the bed wasn't made up when I showed up, but they put a sheet on it and some pillows. So I'm going to bring in my luggage. Slowly but surely settling in. I'm normally pretty organized when it comes to this sort of thing, like just unpacking and setting up a room, but for whatever reason, it was really hard to do this time. Maybe it's the layout of the room, maybe I just wasn't thinking clearly. I'm pretty tired after the heat of today and the riding on the bike, but you can see it's just like a pile of junk everywhere. And I've got junk here on the bed, I got junk here on the floor, and it's not really organized the way I normally like it to be, but hey, I'm almost there. One crazy thing is everything I took out of the trailer, which is over here, was blistering hot, because I guess the trailer has this big top surface, and I did have the rain cover over top, which is a bright yellow, which should reflect the light. And then of course there's the canvas material of the bag itself covering it up. And then I had a rain cover on the inside as well. And then everything on the inside was in another waterproof cover. And yet, as soon as I dug down into them, all of these items that came out of the trailer were like blistering hot. Even my laptop, I touched it and I was like, oh man, it was practically melting. All these things when they came out were just like so hot. And when I took the laptop out, something hit my hand and fell on the bed like a small metallic object. And I went, oh, what could that be? And then I go searching around the bed looking for it, and it's a screw, like one of the little screws holding the laptop together fell out during the day because it was rattling so much as it was going over all the bumps on the road. And then, so I got out my little Swiss Army knife with a little screwdriver on it, screwed that back in, and then I checked all the other screws, and most of them were loose. They had all come loose because of the bouncing. I had to tighten up all the screws on the back of the laptop, which is pretty crazy. And so I have this room. This is the room that I paid for. And then there's another room out here. I guess I have access to it. There is another room over here, but it doesn't have any furniture at all. So I'm going to have this space to myself. So I have this sort of kitchenette, I guess, but it's amazing how much work you have to do to settle into one of these places, because I have my own kettle, but there's the electrical outlet. It doesn't reach the counter. It's too low. So I need another extension cord or something. But anyway, I took the chair off the floor. They brought a chair for me, and I put the chair up here to serve as a table. So let's get this, it already came to a boil, but I want it nice and hot. So let's bring it to a boil again. But yeah, if I stayed here several days or a week or something, I'd probably have to go on a rampage and practically rebuild the whole place just to make it comfortable. Coffee. And let's head inside the air-conditioned area. But yeah, if I stayed here any length of time, of course I'd have to get myself a bedside table, because there's nowhere to put my coffee or anything beside the bed, and there's only one electrical outlet over here. Luckily I have my long extension cord that goes over to my power bar over there, so I have everything charged in. GoPro batteries are charging up, my phones are charging up, my microphones are charging up, and I've got my laptop plugged in. So I'm about to copy and paste all of the video files from today from all these various GoPros into my laptop, and hopefully the laptop still works after its day bumping around inside the trailer. So far so good. The laptop turns on, so that's always a good sign. And I think inside, there's no Wi-Fi here, of course, but I seem to have mobile internet connection. It wouldn't be good enough to upload files or anything like that, but I do seem to be able to connect to the internet a little bit. Yeah, when I came to this small town, I don't know the name of the town. That's another funny thing I find about being overseas. Some of the tiniest bits of information are really difficult to get. And it's difficult in a way that it wouldn't be in Canada. Like if you were a foreign tourist traveling around Canada and you happen to end up in my hometown and you ask somebody, what's the name of this city? Everybody would give you the same name. Or if you ended up in some small town out in the countryside, a farming community, it has a name and everybody knows it and everybody would tell you the same name. It's easy information to get. It's on the map. There's a sign. People know it. People use it. But here, I've noticed it with other YouTubers too. YouTubers sometimes get criticized by local people because they'll say to them, why don't you ask the local people for help? Why? And there's a reason that a lot of us foreigners, we don't ask for local help because most local people don't know anything. And if they do know something, they don't know how to convey it properly. And they don't really understand your situation or your questions. They just don't see the world in the same way. So ever since I got to this town, I've been asking all kinds of people, like, where am I? It doesn't say on Google Maps, as far as I can tell. And I ask people, like, what's the name of this place? Like, what is this town? Where am I? Nobody knows. Nobody can tell me the name of this town, no matter how many people I ask. And then it's the same thing when it comes to finding out, like, is there a place where I can rent a room for the night? It's a pretty simple question. And you think somebody growing up in this town, living their whole life here, they would know. Well, okay, we don't have a Sheraton hotel, we don't have a Hilton hotel, but we do have the Azura Kost, and we have this Losman, and I will take you there, and this is the name of it, and here's their phone number. But you, like I said already, you could ask 10 people, 9 people will tell you, nah, there's nothing here. There's nowhere to stay here, nothing at all. And then I'll try to explain. No, I'm not looking for a hotel. I'm not looking for luxury. I'm just looking for a simple room I can rent, like a cost, a Losman, a peninga. I can never say this word, peningipan, which means basically like inexpensive lodging. That's what I'm looking for. You ask 10 people, 9 people will tell you, nah, there's nothing here. No, there's nothing at all. And then you go riding around on your bike, and then I saw a building that said Kost on it, K-O-S-T. So I went, oh, okay, here is a lodging. So I rode my bike up to this place, and these places are usually empty. Like they don't have a front desk or anything. The doors are locked, the windows are locked, there's nobody around. So I wandered around this place, and I couldn't find anybody. But then a woman came out of the building next door, a woman there. So I went over to her with Google Translate and I asked her, oh, is this a cost? Can I spend the night here? And then she just sort of looked at me and said, no. And then she said, yes, cost. And then I explained to her, well, there's no people here. And I was sort of hoping she would take over for me, like make a phone call, bang on a door, or tell me where to go. But then she just said, yeah, okay, you can rent a room here. And I explained to her, well, I'd like to, but there's nobody here. No one answers the door. When I knock, all the doors are locked. All the gates are locked. Like, where do I go? And then she's, oh, no, there's no rooms here. So she'll say, yes, there are rooms here. No, there are no rooms here. Yes, no. And she goes all over the place. Then some other people came out of the house, and then there's this big, huge discussion. And then 15 minutes later, I just have to leave because nobody can figure it out. And these are the local people. And but then when I was riding by the mosque, as I said, I saw this group of men come out in really nice uniforms.
And I turned my bike in there, and I thought maybe they might even have a room at the mosque that I could stay in. So anyway, I rode my bike up to these men. I knew they'd be happy to chat with me. We took pictures together, and they asked me, "Where are you from? What is your name?" And we had all the usual small talk. And then I asked them about, "Oh, is there a place in this town where I can stay?" And then half the men said no, the other half said yes, and then they had a big long discussion. And then in the end, one of them made a phone call. And a man showed up on a motorcycle, and he was the owner of this place. And then they were going to find out how much it costs for me, but the man would not commit to a price. He just refused. It's like, no, we will talk about it. We'll talk about it. Let's go there, and we'll talk about it. Even the Indonesian men could not get him to tell me how much it would cost, which immediately made me a little bit nervous, because it's like, come on, it's your business. Just tell me how much your rooms are. Why do we have to work so hard to find out what prices are? I hate that. But anyway, very nice man. And he took me here, showed me this room, and a whole bunch of people showed up. Some young people, some women were using Google Translate, having, chatting, things like that. But I find in Sumatra, prices are weird. They're all over the map. They don't make any sense. You can find a place at a certain price, and then you find a place in another town that's worse, but twice as expensive. And you don't know why. Like, people just seem to make up prices. And I don't think it's the foreigner price. It's not that. It's just nobody seems to know what anything should cost. They just seem to make up numbers all the time. So it's, kind of weird. Anyway. I have to settle in here and start copying some video files over to my laptop.
So many surprises here. It turns out that they also have a table tennis organization of some kind here at the same guest house where I'm staying. So yeah, my host here, he just brought me to the back here and showed me a couple of their players practicing returning serves. Yeah, check out that big poster on the wall there. It's amazing how many things the families here do. I've noticed that, not just in Indonesia, but in the Philippines. Yeah, everywhere. Table tennis. Okay. Yeah, they might run 5, 6, 7 different businesses out of the same house. I'm following the secret path my host taught me to get out from his neighborhood and back onto the street. It's nice to be able to do it on foot, because to get on the bike, of course, you've got some preparation. You've got to do the lock and pannier bag and this and that, and you start sweating before you've even put your foot on the pedals. So it's nice to be able to just go out for a walk here. And I met a young man at the mosque when I first showed up. He was among the group that helped me find this place. And he said he's the owner of a restaurant right across the road from the mosque. And he said I should come there to get dinner. But he said he closed at 5 and it's already after 5. I needed time to, just rinse my clothes from all my sweat and copy the video files to my laptop and have a cup of coffee. And now it's after 5. So I need, find something to eat. It's very convenient. Right here, this is the main road, and it has the Indomaret right there. So I'll pick up some drinking water. Oh, check out that kite. I really like kites. Looks like they put some work into making like a big one there. And the Asahan River is off in this direction. Yeah, that's why I have so much trouble moving around a lot, because I could stay in this town for a week easily. Just one day to go down and check out the riverside, one day to explore the downtown area, find different restaurants, things. And then of course you need a day or two to edit all the video that you shoot. Before you know it, a whole week has gone by. But yeah, this town is built up right around the main north-south highway. And this is what they'd be dealing with day and night, all the trucks. And that's where I was all day today on my bicycle. It was quite the challenge, mentally and physically, both. Look at that. It just probably never ends, day and night. A lot of drivers would want to go during the night when it's cool. So I'm right across the road from the mosque, right there. Very beautiful one, very imposing. And the young man I mentioned, he told me this. He closed at 5 o'clock. But when it comes to the timing of everything, I usually get everything wrong. But I just happened to be walking by, and I recognized him in the kitchen, and he's open. So I'm just getting chicken rice, and some sort of a fruit and veggie ice drink. I don't really know. We just sort of chatted for a while, and as long as I get some kind of food and some kind of drink, I'm happy. So I ended up ordering an iced drink of some kind, and he calls it orange juice. But I don't think it's not oranges like we think of them. I'm not quite sure what it is yet. I haven't tried it yet. But he calls it orange juice, Sumatra style. I think it is orange juice. It really is orange. Yeah. But the funny thing is, he had a display there in the window that had like some vegetables, some different things, but there were no oranges of any kind. So I thought maybe I misunderstood, but I guess he has oranges in the back or something, because it really does taste like orange juice. Nice. Yeah, it's one thing like a day like today when you're cycling or doing anything active in the hot sun. The benefit to that is almost like, it's like a feedback loop in a way, where you become so thirsty so fast. And then, I mean, your body wants you to drink as much as possible. So it really heightens the sensation. Like if you get a cold drink, the pleasure just is like through the roof. So, I mean, I didn't do a lot of drinking today. I drank as much water because I have water bottles on my bike. I had 3 liters of water on my bike during the day. So I just drank as much water as I could. But then I stopped at one point at a local shop and I got 2 cartons of cold milk. And man, nothing has ever tasted as good to me as that cold milk, because I was so thirsty. And then at another place, what did I get? Oh yeah, I got my favorite like black currant fruit tea out of a chilled cooler. And drinking that black currant tea, so good. Yeah, I mean, the pleasure again is just incredible. And then I got a Sprite at like an Indo-Maret. I got a Sprite, cold Sprite, that was so good. And now just, I mean, sitting in my room, I drank and I drank and I drank water, 2 cups of coffee, and yet I'm still so thirsty after today. I could drink this in one pull easily. I'm trying to hold back, you know? I want to savor it, but I could drink 5 of those without even stopping. You know, you get so thirsty, and then the enjoyment of drinking when you're that thirsty is really incredible. Yeah, I like that. And this is my view, the main highway. my dinner has arrived. And as soon as it showed up, I recognized it. It's a dish I've had many, many times. Which is kind of funny because, yeah, even after being in Sumatra a lot, I still struggle when it comes to ordering anything because they generally won't have any kind of a menu that you can work from. And 2 shaves and a haircut. So as soon as he brought it over to my table, I smiled and I said to him, ayam penyet. He says, yeah, that's what it is, ayam penyet. So we talked about chicken, we talked about rice and this and that. We went around in a lot of circles in terms of our vocabulary, using Google Translate and English. But if he had said, what about ayam penyet? I would have known instantly what that dish is. Oh yeah, I'll have ayam penyet. But I never know what food they make at different restaurants. Like I just basically sit down and then I'm at a loss. Like, well, I don't know what you make here. You're gonna have to tell me. And then they often don't have a menu that I can look at. So we end up going around in circles for a while. But I guess, it's my fault because I'm a dummy. I just noticed right now on the sign out here, it's spelled backwards because we're looking at it from behind, but there it says ayam penyet. So it is one of their specialties. So that's what they make here, nasi uduk and ayam penyet. And then milk, coffee, like kopi and tea. So yeah, I never saw the sign. At least I never read the English on the sign. I should have known. That's where I had my dinner. Ayam penyet. It was very good. The young man who works there, he asked me to rate it. It's like, how do you rate our food? And I told him that I'm kind of an expert in ayam penyet, and theirs was very good. I liked it a lot. So, yeah, we had a long conversation sitting at the table using Google Translate. He just graduated from high school, and he was telling me that it's very difficult to find a job in Indonesia, and for now he's working at his parents' restaurant. Yeah, looks like this town really services the truck trade. A lot of coffee shops up here, a lot of bakeries, Zakia Cafe and Bakery. A lot of cold drinks here being sold as well. And I've noticed that they seem to have a specialty, some kind of a milk tea, or not like a milky, I'm not quite sure what it is. I haven't seen it before. But a lot of these places at the side of the road, I've noticed they're selling some kind of a thick milk kind of drink. Not sure what it is. Really nice town, though. I still don't know the name of it. On Google Maps, there's a name for this city, and that's what I thought. Okay, that must be the name of this place, but it isn't. Everyone here tells me a different name, and I can never quite understand what they're saying. So I don't really know where I am, but I do know the spot on Google Maps. Yeah, very friendly place, very similar to Tanjung Balai. Yeah, same atmosphere. And I'm just, I think I know the way back to my room. I'm sure you can't really see anything on the GoPro, but I can see just enough with my eyes to see where I'm going. Yeah. Time to relax. Yeah, here's the Kost, the business center for this family. And my room is just around the corner. And here it is, all nicely lit up to welcome me back.